If you're thinking about moving to Winston-Salem or relocating within Winston-Salem, probably one of the things you're thinking about most is what neighborhood should I live in? And a real pet peeve of mine in real estate, especially amongst other agents, is everything's great. All these houses are great. I mean, there's a reason there's those jokes about the words, cozy is a house that's really small. A fixer-upper is a house that's falling down. You've probably heard these things before. It's a common thing in the real estate industry. What I want to do in hopes to help you either move neighborhoods that you might be considering up or down or off your list is I'm going to go through some of Winston-Salem's favorite neighborhoods, and I'm going to tell you some things that you might not like about living there. And maybe this will help you move things up, down, or off your list of consideration. I'm Jeff Valentino. I help people buy and sell real estate. If that's you, my contact information is below. Now, I'll say I've sold homes and have clients that live in homes in all of these neighborhoods and they like them, but for all different reasons. So it's important to consider not only the good, but maybe the potential bad things about each individual neighborhood that you're looking at. And if you like this video, I'm going to do one soon for the suburbs of Winston-Salem as well. But first, let's start out with the neighborhoods in Winston-Salem itself, and we're going to talk about Ardmore. Ardmore is one of Winston-Salem's most beloved neighborhoods. It's got a lot of great qualities to it. But I have come across some things that are really common that moves it off or down people's list of consideration. And the first one is because its location, its proximity to the hospital, it tends to get a lot of residents, and that can make the neighborhood feel more transient with more people moving in and out more often than some other neighborhoods. So first, if you're looking for a neighborhood where people tend to move and stay put, this might not be for you. Second thing is there are a lot of older homes in Ardmore as well, and while that's great with charm and some historic character and just a lot of things that people like, there are things that go along with having older homes. For example, in Ardmore, we see homes that have older electrical systems or a different style of foundation that's not as structurally sound as in more of today's modern homes. I guess on the good side of some of that, a lot of that has been updated, but you do still run across homes where it's been an original owner or they just may have not updated that electrical system and say it's got the old aluminum wiring, for instance. That can be an unforeseen expense, but also know that homes with just older systems like this or older homes in general just tend to be a little bit more maintenance. So if you want carefree, simple, set it and forget it kind of type of living, Ardmore might not be the neighborhood for you for that reason as well. Next reason Ardmore might not be the neighborhood for you in Winston-Salem is the basements in Ardmore. Yes, Ardmore basements are a thing, and the reason why is because these homes are so much older, the basements can really run the gamut on what they are. From a crawl space to a cellar to a full basement, just know that the basements in Ardmore can be really old. Actually, it's not uncommon. When I go look at a basement in Ardmore, you go down and you go downstairs and it's just earth. I mean, you're just there, the house is sitting on piers on a foundation, and then you just have earth around you, and that's the basement. Or it could be sometimes where the basement is walled in, but sometimes the floor is just earth with a vapor barrier over the top, similar to what you'd see in a crawl space. And depending on the slope of the lot and things like that, Ardmore basements are known to get water intrusion, not on all of them, but on a fair amount. Enough to where there are companies that specialize not only in water remediation, but some that are really well known to do a good job on Ardmore basements. Again, Ardmore is a great neighborhood, but those are some things to keep in mind. If you really don't want to deal with any of that, you're either going to have to be really choosy on the house within Ardmore, or maybe you just want to look at another neighborhood. Next neighborhood in Winston-Salem I want to talk about is Sherwood Forest, another great, very popular neighborhood. It's got a really good location with some nice size homes, community pool, all those good things, but here are some reasons why Sherwood Forest might not be for you. First is it is predominantly two-story homes in Sherwood Forest. So if you're looking for one-floor living, you're going to have very few choices in Sherwood Forest compared to other neighborhoods. Remember, in Sherwood Forest, the vast majority of these homes are built in the 80s and 90s, so you see a lot of brick two-story homes in Sherwood Forest. Even in New Sherwood Forest, where there's some newer construction, you still don't have as many ranch-style homes. So if you're trying to eliminate stairs, or you want, they weren't doing a lot of primary bedrooms on the main level then, so if you need at least the primary bedroom on the main level, Sherwood Forest might not be for you. And to go along with that, the next reason you might want to really think about if Sherwood Forest is the right neighborhood for you is the floor plans. A lot of the 80s and 90s homes have those floor plans where all the rooms are very separate and distinct. So if you like something really open and flowing floor plan, like in newer construction, Sherwood Forest might not be a good fit for you, because if you look at those old traditional brick two stories, you have, very separate living, dining room areas, and then a separate family room with bedrooms upstairs that are all separate there. So if you like that open floor plan, Sherwood Forest might not be the location for you, or you just have very little to choose from in Sherwood Forest. I mean, at Sherwood Forest, you got to rake a lot of leaves, but that's a lot of places in Winston-Salem, so we'll give that one a pass. But this is a real insider one. So the next reason I want to talk about why Sherwood Forest might not be for you is Silas Creek Parkway. It's a pretty busy, well-traveled road, but Sherwood Forest kind of butts up against that for a good portion of the neighborhood, and you can get some road noise. And when I say road noise, like, it's noticeable sometimes even from inside houses when I'm showing them. And sometimes even if it's a couple houses away from the main road, you'll still have the road noise just because the speed limit on Silas Creek Parkway is a little bit higher. So traffic goes a little bit quicker and you can hear that road noise a little bit more. So if you're looking in Sherwood Forest, take note of where Silas Creek Parkway is in relation to the house, and just know that if you're close to that road noise could be a problem, let alone if you're leaving the neighborhood and you got to make a left onto Silas Creek Parkway, you're going to want to find a way to kind of loop around, and so you don't have to do that because it can get busy on that road. Next neighborhood in Winston-Salem I want you to think of, that if it is for you or not, is Buena Vista. One of Winston-Salem's most popular and desirable neighborhoods, but of course, like anything else, it's not for everyone. Because it's one of the higher priced neighborhoods in Winston-Salem, you get less home for the money. Like, price per square foot in Buena Vista is higher than just about every other neighborhood around Winston-Salem. And of course, you kind of know that when you're buying, you're buying location, right? That's one of the things. And with a desirable neighborhood like that, that's probably common sense. But just to give you an example of the expense of these homes, when I'm recording this right now, there's actually only one house in Buena Vista that's $500,000 or less. So if you don't have budgetary concerns, then Buena Vista is great, but it is something to know that you're going to get a little bit less for your money in that neighborhood versus other ones. The other thing really to mention there is similar to some of the other neighborhoods in Winston-Salem, you can have some older homes that are going to require more ongoing maintenance than a newer house. But really, Buena Vista is a great neighborhood, but you really should know about the expense if it's really somewhere that you're looking at. You can get more home for the money in other neighborhoods. Next neighborhood in Winston-Salem that you want to think about if this is for you or not is West End. Now, West End was originally the first suburb of Winston-Salem way back in the day. It's actually just a neighborhood of Winston-Salem now. It butts right up against downtown, so it's a great location. But if you're looking for something that makes sense on how the roads are laid out, West End might not be the neighborhood for you. The streets are very windy, hilly. One can turn into another street without much notice or anything like that, so it can kind of get a little bit difficult to navigate. At the same time, that might be charming to you too, but if you're living at the bottom of the hill and we get a lot of, these summer rainstorms or something like that, if you have a lot of water rushing down there, you want to make sure that you have adequate drainage around the house because you will deal with more water. And I've been into a couple homes that are in situations like that. And the basements in West End can take a lot of water if it's coming down the hill. So if you're looking at a house at the bottom of a hill in West End, we want to double check and make sure, does it have a French drain system, or how are they managing water when it comes, because it will. Again, not an automatic disqualification, but really something to keep in mind if you're looking in that neighborhood. And then also about West End, there's a huge variety of price points in there, from the 300,000s all the way to million plus in one kind of compact neighborhood. So if you're looking for a neighborhood that's just kind of homogeneous, where you can have your really nice house and all the other houses on the street kind of match that, might not be the place for you, because you could have a really expensive house on this street and then a little bit further down the street you'll have something that's smaller, lower priced. I know some people have feelings about that. They want their neighborhood a certain way, so just keep that in mind. West End might not be for you if that's the case. All right, next neighborhood in Winston-Salem I want to talk about for you to think about if it's for you or not is the Washington Park neighborhood. Now, when I moved here in the summer of 2019 from the suburbs of Chicago, I was talking to people about the different neighborhoods and just kind of learning as I'm getting started in real estate here. And Washington Park was really referred to then as kind of up and coming. The neighborhood itself could really vary a lot, not even just block to block, but sometimes house to house within the block. You can have something that's been beautifully restored, well taken care of, totally updated, and then a house that hasn't had a new owner in 50 years right next door to it, and it looks like it. So in 2019, that's kind of how it was referred to me, is kind of still up and coming. Good news is 5 years later, the neighborhood is really more on the up than the up and coming part. A lot of beautiful homes in Washington Park, but still, it can be still kind of in that up and coming. I think Washington Park is a great neighborhood. It's got a really good community feel. But if having houses where your whole block is pristine, you really want to take a closer look as you're looking at homes in Washington Park if that's the case. If you're looking to buy or sell property in these neighborhoods or anywhere else in Winston-Salem, I'd love to be a resource for you. You can reach out to me directly at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.